Well, welcome to the Blue Lake City Council meeting. Today is February 10th, 2026. Let's go ahead and call to order. Or excuse me, that was the call to order. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not really, okay.
City Manager Short, would you please establish a quorum?
I will. Mayor
Great.
Slotsky.
Here.
Councilperson Napier.
Here.
Councilperson Lewis Lusso.
Here.
Councilperson Scafani.
Here.
Councilperson Bailiff. Here.
All right, on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. Tonight, we are going to go ahead and move item number 13 before 8. SHN is here, and we prefer to move that one forward. Is anyone in agreement on that?
Yes.
13 before 8?
Should I make a motion? A motion to move agenda item 13 before item number 8.
We have a motion by Napier,
Second.
seconded by Scafani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Moving on to public comment. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the City Council that is relevant to the scope of authority of the City of Blue Lake that is not on the agenda. The Council may provide up to 15 minutes for this public input session. To ensure that each individual is heard, we will limit this time to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to speak on public comment? Yes, go ahead, Lynn.
Not on the agenda.
Right.
Hi, my name is Lynn Glenn, and I'm here about the agenda item from last meeting, which was regarding the commissions in Blue Lake. And I know there's been an ad hoc committee looking at that issue, and I read the report, and I just had a couple of suggestions. One is that the needs, I believe, for the commissions would be to increase the numbers, because we're having some trouble recruiting. And also, the concerns were the cost of time and money to the city to support the commissions. So I would suggest that the council liaisons, when they come to the commission meetings, perhaps talk to the commissioners and they can work together to talk about those issues. How can we recruit more? What can we do to reduce the burden on the city, if that's a problem? How can we clarify our purpose? I encourage the council to meet with the commissioners and the commissions to get some cooperation and work together on the issues that we're seeing. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Further public comment? Yes, Jane, go ahead. Oh, I'll get you next, sir. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Is Canifest on the agenda?
It is on the agenda, so you have to wait for that item. Who's next? Jean, no? Anyone else wish to public comment?
Oh.
Yes. Go ahead, Adam.
Adeline Jones. At the last council meeting, John Sawatsky mentioned the mental anguish he had over the recall that occurred in our town. And my question is, what about the mental anguish that Mandy Mager and her family experienced almost a year ago when she was ousted?
Continue. Apologies.
And what about the citizens of Blue Lake's mental anguish when we were about to experience a huge fine from the state because this council at first did not approve our housing element? These were real mental anguishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Not on the agenda. Julie Christie, go ahead.
Hey guys, how's our Zoom audio tonight for you? Okay, well, audio is my first topic of concern. I really think we got to do something for everybody in there to hear everybody better, and I'd like to suggest a conference speaker or something. In the past, when Justin first started out recording, It did take some grassroots with a lot of community members chipping in 20, 40 bucks towards Justin whenever we could. Uh, and we still have that support in our community, so it's not a financial burden on the city. That if we could just get a priority list back from Justin, maybe that could be another agenda item about like the audio, what we can do to facilitate that so that everybody's heard. I'd like to see the Parks and Rec schedule fees come back with everything we got going on economically. That's been kind of on the back burner. I know it takes a lot of reflection, so I think we should have the conversation sooner than later because I don't think it's something we're going to actually pass in one night. It might be something that gets brought back, and we're already deep into our year. I see Annie and Mary Day has changed the date this year. It looks like they're advertising for August 6th. So just getting that out to the community. And I want to thank this council. I've been attending meetings for many years, and this is the first time that I'm not actually getting anxiety about how people are going to be treated. So I appreciate that everybody has their personal opinions and that they can speak up in front of you guys, regardless of what they are. And I really appreciate the atmosphere that you've generated for the city. Thank you.
Julie. Any further public comment before we bring it back to council to move on to the next agenda item? Seeing none. Okay. Moving on to item number 6, the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to have anything pulled? No? Anything from the public? Anyone wish to have anything pulled? No comments either? Okay. Bring it back to council. Can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Scafani,
Second.
seconded by Louis Lusso. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Moving on to item number 7, receive presentation from Stephen Coleman from Redwood Coast Energy Authority. City Manager Short, do you wish to fill us in on anything on this?
No,
or-
Stephen's here to make his presentation.
Yes, Stephen, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. I'm excited so many people came out to see my presentation tonight. So, I'm sure what everyone's. So, my name is Stephen Coleman. I'm the Director of Customer Programs at Redwood Coast Energy Authority. And I'm here to talk about one of our recent initiatives called the Northern Rural Energy Network and to request a letter of support from the Blue Lake City Council. So if I could have the next slide. Oh, and I hope it doesn't do that because I'm relying on these slides to remember what I'm going to say. So just drill briefly, probably most of you have heard of Redwood Coast Energy Authority, but we're your local community choice aggregator. We procure electricity on behalf of Humboldt County. PG&E still operates all the transmission, the billing, and the lines. We also, we've been around a lot longer than we've been doing that, though. We've been around over 20 years providing programs, helping jurisdictions with energy efficiency and energy programs and trying to just advocate for a rural community and for the energy needs around here. So that leads into one of our real exciting initiatives that we partnered with 3 other agencies to develop what's called a REN, a Regional Energy Network, serving much of rural Northern California with energy efficiency programs. And the reason we did this is that everyone who pays a PG&E bill or any utility bill in California pays a little portion of that, goes to what's called the Public Purpose Program Fund. And that funds a lot of things like wildfire and care and FARA for those who get those income discounts. And it also fund some energy efficiency programs. And traditionally, most of that money that everybody paid went to metropolitan areas and those programs operated there, and very little of it went to rural areas such as ourselves. And in fact, the statistics show that rural areas paid more into that fund than were received. So we collaborated with some other agencies through 17 counties in rural Northern California to be able to access some of those funds to provide services. And so we just launched this past year in 2025. I guess we can move to the next slide. And so we're offering, right now, we have rebates, so if you go out and buy a new appliance or a heat pump or anything like that, you can get a rebate from us. We're also gonna be launching soon a contractor partnership program where contractors can partner with us and access more incentives to be able to provide these, their services to customers in our region at a lower cost. We're also gonna be, we also have home assessment, so if you're concerned about your bills, and I'm a local resident here in Blue Lake, I see the Blue Lake page, people are concerned about their bills, there's a real affordability crisis going on right now, we're aware of that. You can call and get an energy advisor to give you an assessment of your home and look for ways that you might be able to save energy and money. We also have no-cost energy efficiency kits that can be mailed free to you, containing things like water aerator to help save water, which saves energy, LED light bulbs, power strips, things along those lines. So next slide. We'll also be, we're working on a lot of work program launching, developing these programs and navigating the bureaucracy. No wonder, like, nobody, now that we're doing this, I wonder why we decided to do this, yeah, but, trying to get these services, but we're gonna be launching commercial programs, which will also be contractor-led to get, help, you know, our mom and pop grocery stores and other commercial, entities here in Humboldt and the other regions. A public program working with jurisdictions like the city of Blue Lake and our tribes, schools, fire stations, workforce education and training to help people get trained up for some of these green jobs in the future, and a financing program to help provide some of that gap funding and microloans to do these projects. So all of those should be launching this year. Next slide. Can I get the next slide, please?
Click it next. Just a moment.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Oh, and I don't need to go, but this is just some of our, you know, when we launched, I say we launched in 2025, it was kind of mid to, you know, early to mid-year, but we've distributed over 600 of those energy efficiency kits, done over 87 home energy efficiency assessments. I don't need to read all those statistics, but we're doing a lot, completed a number of needs assessments to help develop and design these programs. And that map shows that our current reach, and so we're a little non-contiguous, we have that gap, but that's something we're trying to fix for our next go-around. Next slide. So our current program cycle ends at the end of 2027. So we are working right now on our business plan for the 2028 through 31 business plan cycle, and that blows me away too that we're planning for 2031, but that's what we're doing. We'll be expanding our current portfolio. We're also going to be adding Yolo County, so it's going to bridge that gap. So we're going to be a contiguous red now, and also areas of Trinity County, maybe a little Shasta, and then do what we're calling a market characterization and needs assessment for all other unserved customers throughout Northern California within PG&E territory. We can't serve Pacific Power customers, but the PG&E territory in Northern California. And so next slide. So that's about it. The reason I'm here is because we are asking all our member agencies. So RCA is governed by representatives from each of the cities, from the county, from 2 of the tribes that decided to sign on. Elise is your representative from Blue Lake, and interestingly enough, I was that representative back in, I want to say like 2015 or something when I sat up there on council. But right now, we're just asking for a letter of support for that business plan that we'll be submitting in March to the CPUC for us for more funding and continue this work. So,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Does council have any questions?
I have a question, just clarification. You mentioned that your business plan application was going to be spanning from 2028 to 31, I heard. On the slide and also in this letter is 35.
So, yeah, that's complicated.
Oh, okay.
So,
I
no,
mean, maybe it's not
uh,
relevant. I
It
just,
is, the business plan and budget that we're preparing is for 28 through 31, but what the CPUC wants us to do is what they call 8-year rolling portfolios. So we do, every 4 years, we do an 8-year portfolio that, and then they overlap. And so the second 4 years is like a strategic plan.
Okay.
So it's 4 years of budget, 4 years of strategic, and then next time it leapsfrog and jumps like that. So you're correct in seeing that. Good catch.
okay.
Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Are you collecting signed letters now?
Well, we're asking for a sign letter from the council. I don't know if you need to, so.
Individual?
Probably, I appreciate the sentiment, but I think we're just trying to gather them from individuals and elected officials. That's Mike McGuire's office has agreed to sign on, as well as Chris Rogers and Damon Connolly. So we're also getting some elected official support.
Great. I will go ahead and bring the microphone out to the public if you guys have questions. Anybody have questions? Yeah, I'll bring it out to you here in just a minute.
I was just wondering what, like, if it,
One second, sorry.
it seems like there was a lot of things that.
Looks like you're getting a mic here. Oh, no, that's okay.
It seemed like there was things that were offered for commercial, but there was things that the public had to do to apply for. So what are you doing, like, for the public?
For the public, for the residential, is that what you mean by?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the programs that we actually have launched right now. And so those are those energy efficiency kits, free home assessments, and rebates on appliances that you buy. And we're gonna be adding to that a participating contractor program where you can work with a contractor to get a bigger project.
So there's nothing that we just get. We have to go through processes to acquire them.
Well, if you either go to our website or call us, we will send it to you, but yes, we're not just sending things without people asking for them.
Yeah, but the commercial, you are.
No, we're also not. You have to like sign an interest form or a participation agreement that you want this service. We're not
Okay.
trying to give services to anybody who doesn't request them.
Okay.
But we're trying to reach out to let people know that they're there.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, sure. This kind of dovetails with what you were asking about. On some of these projects, like heat pumps and heat pump water heating, do you have to be income qualified, and is it for low income qualified? And how does that work for, say, rental units and that kind of thing?
So the first question, no, there are no income qualifications, although that we are looking into having additional higher rebate amounts for income qualified, but you don't need to be income qualified to participate. Renters can be a little more tricky, but we can work with either the landlord or the renter. If it's the renter, they need the property owner's permission to do any major installations, but if it's something like an appliance, then they can work. And we can also do the home assessment for a renter and the home energy kit for a renter. So, but for anything where you're, doing something on the house itself, we would need to work with the landlord to be able to do that.
Thank you.
About the budget, whether it's next 5 years or 2035, whatever, where's the money coming from and how is, you do the business plan, how is that money changing in terms of federal versus state versus local?
Great question. This is state money, and it comes from this small but noticeable charge on everybody's power bills through the CPUC. Yeah. So it's called the PPP. It's the Public Purpose Program, and like I mentioned, that funds a number of things, and energy efficiency programs such as this one are a small sliver. And basically, all of that money goes to PG&E or SoCal Edison or all those. And so we're taking some of what would have been going to PG&E to make sure it stays in this community.
So about 80% state is the revenue you're getting?
It's 100%.
100%.
100% from the CPC, no federal dollars in this. When we launched this, we had grand ambitions of being able to leverage federal dollars and so work with customers and get all those federal incentives that are out there. That is no longer the case, unfortunately.
Any other public comments or questions? Sorry. Seeing none. Julie, go ahead.
I had one clarifying question, and then I had just some sentimental thoughts to follow. Was the letter that we're being asked to send in for support, was that included in the agenda? Because I can't access it right now because of my service. I was just curious if that was in packet material. Okay, cool, right on. Hopefully our council was able to look through that. Because my thoughts on goals with, being transparent, through the process with stuff like this, equity, and, not hindering, rural cost of living. So going into some of the research I was doing, regarding, brought me to the California Climate and Energy Collaboratives page and just reading through some of that material and stuff. So I just feel that if we're going to promote a letter of support, should be very transparent where the funding will be distributed, which we're alluding to that this evening, but there should be like maybe a priority list prior, a little bit more in depth of where we would direct community priority list, not generalized community. So just some thoughts on that. And yep, I got faith in you guys. You read it, not me. Thank you.
All right. Last call. Seeing none, bring it back to council for any other questions or conversations. Or motion, whatever you guys want to do.
Oh, I'm thinking of my 50-year-old water heater. The only thing keeping it together is the rust at the bottom. So I'm giving you a call.
All right. So we have the option to make a motion to approve the letter signing.
I would love to make a motion for the council to sign the letter in support of all that Stephen has presented here today.
Motion. Did you say something?
I did not.
Okay. Motion made by Napier. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bayless. All those in favor of signing a letter, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. It passes.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Give us a call at Redwood Coast Energy Authority if you have any questions about your bill or any of these programs, anything like that. We're always happy to help.
Thank you, Stephen.
And I brought you presents too.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, nice.
I'm giving them to you after the vote, so
Wow.
All right, moving on to item number 13. This was originally item number 13 before 8. Consider staff recommendations for reciprocal access easement between the city's corporation and city
So,
manager.
yeah, the staff report was written by Gary Reed, so he will come and do the
Great.
presentation.
Gary, please come forward.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for moving this item up. Definitely appreciate it. As you can see in the staff report that was provided, I don't know if anybody wants a copy. That would be of interest to folks. Essentially explaining why this item is on the agenda tonight, for the council to consider a recommendation from the city engineer regarding the use of a portion of the city's corporation yard for an expanded driveway to serve a mixed-use project proposed by the Rousseau family. And members of the Rousseau family are here this evening. So we're currently going through the planning permit process. This project needs a conditional use permit and site plan approval. And before moving it forward, we wanted to bring this item to the council's attention so that you had the ability to review the recommendation from the city engineer and determine whether you concur or whether the applicant should look for alternatives for access to the site. Call your attention to the screen here, and for those of you who have this in front of you, attachment 1. To the staff report is the current draft site plan that was provided by the applicant. And so just to kind of walk you through that real quick, you can see in the southwest corner of this property, there is an existing commercial building. Oh. What's that? Yeah. So there's an existing commercial structure there, and you'll notice it's quite close to the southern property line for this property, and because of that, there's really only a 17 feet wide driveway that serves the interior of this lot. So because of that, and because of the new development that's proposed there, you can see against the rear of the property, the eastern property line, they're proposing a mixed-use project. Looks to be 4 residential units and 3,200 square feet of warehousing or commercial space. And because of that additional development on the property, the city engineer is recommending a 2-way driveway that would require an expanded driveway with maybe 8 to 10 feet that would occur on the city's corporation yard. So that would have to be paved. The benefits to the city obviously are getting this project happening, additional commercial space in the Powers Creek district, additional residential units, and this would provide a secondary access to the city's corporation yard for current operations or any potential future development that may happen there. Other than that, if you could go to attachment 2 in the figure.
Is it the aerial photo?
Yeah, that one there. So that was a figure prepared by the city engineer to demonstrate their recommendation. So you can see a portion of that driveway would occur on the applicant's property, and a portion would occur on the city's corporation yard to the south. You will notice there is a difference in what's currently being proposed. There's some existing utilities identified there in the northwest corner of the city's corporation yard. Those are now proposed to be undergrounded so that you wouldn't have a little jog in the driveway coming into the site. So if you look at the current site plan, it would just be a straight access road coming into the site. So other than that, I think that is pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward proposal and recommendation from the city engineer to ensure that there's adequate 2-way access for this site. The applicant's here if you have any questions about their property or project, and of course, staff is available to answer any questions that council may have.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Reese before he sits down?
I mean, it could be, I don't know who to ask the question of, but who would be in charge of maintenance of this road?
That's a great question. In the discussions I've had with the city manager, they were indicating would be the desire of the city, one, to have them pay for costs associated with establishing this. There would be a reciprocal access easement over it. It may be shared maintenance duties between the applicant and the city, but that has yet to be worked out. We haven't really had those discussions yet.
Gary, do those discussions need to happen before this approval, or would that be an after?
That could be something that, the council could provide direction and staff could work out those things with the applicant.
Okay.
Those could be required as conditions of approval of the conditional use permit as to whatever arrangement is worked out.
I see.
Great.
Thank you.
Gary, go ahead.
So Gary, on the piece of property for the corporation yard, is there
Yeah.
a fence along there? Would the
There
fence
is.
need to be set
Also,
back,
good
or-
question. If you could go to the, yep, thank you.
I pulled
You're
it out.
fast with that. So this shows you generally what it looks like. I think this picture may have been taken a year plus ago, but this is generally what it is. So you can see the gravel 17-foot wide driveway, and then you can see the portion that the driveway would expand into. And yes, there is an existing fence there that would have to be removed and replaced. Potentially someday there would be a driveway ramp into the corporation yard if that were desired, but yes, that fence is there and would need to be relocated.
Okay. And the city would bear the cost of that. Would they also bear the cost of the road to make the road improvement as well?
In discussions with the city manager, obviously it's the city's position that the applicant would pay for those things.
Great. Any other, yes, Councilmember Napier?
Yes, looking at the previous slide where it's showing the Mondo Way and that intersection where the existing utilities are. On the corporate yard, on the northwest corner, there looks like there's already access to Mondo Way right there in addition to the access on Taylor Road. That's correct?
Yeah, there is a fence there, or a gate, I should say, that
Okay.
can be open to provide some access through that location as well, yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, apologies. A ramp would have to be built in order for us to utilize that, is that correct?
If you could go back to the picture showing the ground photo. Yeah, there's an elevation difference there.
Yeah.
So the portion that would expand into the city's corporation yard would, need to be raised up. There'd probably be a little fill prism kind of extending off of it. In order to, get in and out of the corp yard from that, you may need some kind of a ramp, or it could be graded to really minimize that, but no design's been done in that regard yet. I'm just kind of ballparking based on what we're looking at in current site conditions.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and have the applicant come forward and present.
Hello, I'm Ryan Russo, trying to develop this, but can you go back to that picture there? If you see that from the building to the fence is 22 feet. Now, in Blue Lake, in some areas, their drive is only 20 feet for access. And so I'm thinking, I'm just hoping that I don't have to, do this easement. I can utilize what I have here. And the pavement would be up against, it's not really a sidewalk, it's just an ADA to get around to the front, to the back building. So an emergency vehicle could get through there. It's 38 feet is what we're talking about. That's not compliant. And so, I would still have to move the fence, because I'd bring it right up to the fence, because that'd be the 22 feet, and then peel it off, and that way. So, and the only thing that, this didn't really come up, and I have these plans that were submitted, and with the future phases on them, and I didn't know that this was gonna be an issue. I would have cut the building.
Wasn't brought forward to be an issue.
Yeah,
It was
so,
approved.
right. And so I'm just wondering if that's, emergency vehicles and so on need 20 feet. I got 22 feet. I'm close. Is what, I'm just hoping to use my own property there and not have to encroach onto your guys' or ask for an easement and do all that. So.
Great. Any questions for the applicant? And Robert, I'll let you talk here in a minute. I couldn't quite hear you. You were talking back there.
I do have a question.
I'm just support.
I'm waiting for you to recommend. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead,
Hi.
Councilman Napier.
Great project, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you're to do that, to extend out fully that 22 feet, and it would be pretty much at that same elevation over, how would you handle that transition there at the fence? Because we'd have a drop off. What would that?
It would be, it'd be pavement, obviously, up to that fence, but the fence is gonna be moved over probably a little bit because of the runoff. Or we could put it in line, depending, we don't wanna take, or use that as an easement, so we'll put it right back at but it'll just veer off kinda like it is right now. And in the future, if you guys, cause at the time we were kinda doing this, the courtyard was in the process of like possibly being sold. So I was working with the new owner, and this is part of the reason I thought of why we were coming up with this to work together. Well, now that's off the table, and now I'm like, well, I don't know if, I don't wanna do a hassle like this, if I can make that work.
Okay.
And I only used it, or saying this is because other places that have way more units than I do have 20 feet, as a pass through. And we're talking 38 feet, for my.
That's
Yeah.
the length of the building.
The length, yeah,
It gets wider on each side.
yeah, before and after. And so, yeah. I don't really know how to go about asking, if I can just use the existing.
Right, I think that's there. I was just wondering if it was like, if you already had something engineered, what it would look like for that 22 feet? Is it Indian and Gabion blocks? Is it something that you just work with the city planner, the city?
I mean, it
engineer?
will be engineered for sure, you know.
Just wondering what it would look like, that's all, if you don't have one. That
No, I
answers my
mean,
question.
well, is why I haven't got there is because I don't wanna spend a bunch of money and then be like, no, you can't do that.
Sure.
So I'd like to give you guys' approval or whatever before I spend money to show you really what it would look like. But it would, you know, it'll look eons better than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I talk?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Look, since it's, you know, new council planning, everything, for a little history, when he bought the building, he got a remodel first. They wanted him to show what they thought they would put on the property. That's the site plan.
The future phases.
You know, just showing them what was going. They approved that. We poured the approach, we had access, we had 20 feet from the building to the fence. And it, as a construction standpoint, with the fence would get removed, gravel would be brought in, it would slough onto the courtyard property down to keep the slope. Fence would get put back in on that line, not on each other's line, just on that line. You would end up with a gravel slope on your property to mediate, to keep this road in place. But it's gravel down there already, it's, you know, it's pretty solid stuff, it's not going anywhere. You know, but it would, say, max or probably 3-foot differential. I don't think,
It's not even that much.
yeah, I know it's not that much, but I'm giving it the worst. And I don't think it ever puddles, like in rainstorms. It just goes right through, so that part, whoever gets that piece of property and develops it would have to deal with some, but I would assume they would probably fill it so they graded to the street. But Gary would know more about how that plan would go. But we didn't, as this thing went, we were not aware at all of an access problem. I mean, way back when we started, I mean, it was, because we had to cut the building off 2 feet, because it was a remodel. I mean, you know, it was never brought up to our attention. And so, when it comes back, you know, with this is a pretty elaborate situation, I don't know how it got there. I go, and on the plan that was showing, why would someone give 17 feet and another person only give 3 feet in an easement, not property? It should go right down the middle. It should be 10 feet on one side, 10 feet on the other, and we all get to use it, and, but it's all coming off of one side. None of that makes sense.
Right. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Any other questions?
Oh,
I have a question.
Robert Russo.
So that site plan that you started to enroll there, that was your original site plan?
Mhm.
And how many residential units are in that original site plan?
On that particular one, there was 4 phases, including, or wait, 1, 2, 3, there, yeah, total 4 phases. I have since, you know, I don't think I'm gonna develop anything else because of just the parking situation. I see it, like how, and it's, or when I go to places and I can't park, it makes me mad. So I decided that the other 2 phases aren't gonna go. Yeah, and I know that was part of like the deal in Blue Lake at the time. They were like, build, you know, 3 stories, whatever, just stuff them in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, I like parking better, I think. So, yeah, that's.
And so did you ever get conditional approval on that original plan?
Yeah, this was submitted, and Mike Fogut, I have an email from Mike Fogut saying he wanted the additional phases on that site plan. But I was told to submit one project at a time. which is fine because it triggered some other things, but still the original site plan was acknowledged. And so that's why I'm saying, wouldn't the road come up at that point?
So,
This is before I even started. This is for phase one, the very first building.
It's the approval of the first building.
But I also, on that site plan, has phase 2, 3, and 4. So then it's, to me,
So they
I
knew
mean,
it was coming.
yeah, that's, my future plan was to do this, and I'm like, well, why is this coming up now? I had no idea, really. But at the time, I didn't think anything because, you know, somebody was gonna buy that, and we were working together a little bit with, you know, Mandy and the previous owner, or the guy that was gonna buy it, so that, we were working out a whole different situation there. So that's where I feel like this came in to play. And now that they're not buying it, I wanna go back to be like, okay, you know, but in the future, if somebody buys it or developed, I'm open to putting that as an easement, because there's utilities, you can't really, they're gonna have to bring those utilities right down that road, right down.
They can bring it right on the, both people have
Well,
use of the road and the utilities.
anyhow.
They're right in the middle. You don't need
Yeah.
Gary, do you wish to speak to any of this?
Absolutely.
Great. Ryan, go ahead.
I was doing that when you were talking.
So just to start off with the plan set they have,
Sure.
that's a concept.
Okay.
The only thing that was approved on there was phase one, the
Mhm.
rehab of the
guidance.
existing building.
Robert,
Well,
You
come
gotta
on,
let me
bud.
speak.
Just wait.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna find any approvals from the city other than maybe Mike Foggett in an email saying, thanks for letting us know what your potential future development is, but that's not an approval. And Mike's comments are recommendations. I mean, ultimately, they have to be approved by planning commission, potentially city council if they involve city property, things like that. So just to address that these things were not brought up previously, I mean, you can see in your staff report, you've got a December 2023 memo from the city engineer. When they were proposing the second phase, it clearly identifies, you know, they're recommending that the road be paved. They're talking about the proximity of the road to the southern property line, that there's not adequate room for, you know, what the code requires, you know, for the road, all that kind of stuff. So we did our best to review each phase as they came in, but holding up a conceptual plan and saying this was already signed off on, we don't see what the problem is, that's just not accurate.
Okay.
So anyway, what they're doing right now is they're proposing a second phase, which you see on their site plan. What you also see on their site plan is they're showing what we're talking about right now, which is a portion of the road on their property and a portion on the city's property. It shows it as a 25-foot wide roadway essentially. So anyway, clearly, you know, we need to work more with the applicants. We just did a completeness review, which the city managers are currently looking at. We should be discussing that with the applicant tomorrow. There is a possibility, despite everything said, that some portion of the city's corporation yard may need to be used for an expanded driveway, whether it be 20 feet, whether it be 25 feet. So it's still important to have this item before the council at this time for you to weigh in on whether you would be amenable to that, to allowing some portion of this expanded driveway to occur on the city's corporation yard. That would allow us to know, you know, that the city concurs with that recommendation and to move forward. And if there's some refinements that need to happen, exactly how wide it is to meet code standards or whatever the design ultimately may be from an engineering perspective, we can work through those things with the applicant.
Great. Any other questions? Well, Gary's up there. Does the public wish to comment on this item? Anyone? Seeing none? All right.
I think there's.
Julie up there. Julie, you want to comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm always that hawk. Thanks, Ryan, for finally getting the time to come in here and talk to the city about it. I'm familiar with your site plan. You guys have been kind of visualizing for a long time now. We only really got to touch water on this subject a little bit back when Paradise K was also wanting to do a similar project, and that would, I think, is the same parcel now that we just zoned for the multi-housing development. I've always really supported Ryan's project that was the original phase one, because it really exemplifies what the ozone is meant for, and it isn't really impactful. I really appreciate that he is seeing the quality of life that the tenants need workroom and privacy and parking. So I appreciate that. I'm just kind of or like a little bit. Ryan, you touched on the courtyard. So Gary and Elise are probably the only ones kind of there right now that when we were discussing the corporation yard moving to the sewer treatment plant, and then there was a proposition from the Eisners to purchase the corp yard and help do the cleanup, and there was some conceptual visual done at that time. But then since we've gotten a new council, we haven't really like had time. It's somebody's fault. We just haven't had the capacity to get back to those subjects. But sounds like some stuff has evolved. Okay, it sounds like that purchase potentially at the corp yard isn't happening. I will let staff answer if they're still entertaining moving our public works to the sewer treatment area. But as far as where we're at the table right now with Ryan's thought, it sounds like he's feeling really confident that he doesn't technically need the easement. It's just something on the table that could be brought up as potentially needed. But I would assume, given the contours back there, an easement would be something that the city could facilitate pretty simply for this process. And I think these guys have been on the back burner long enough. They're locals. They invested in our community by purchasing this property and actually doing something with it. And I feel like the process for them, unfortunately, has been really hindered. And so whatever I don't know what the recommendation would be, but I would recommend that in good faith, we continue to work with this family and proceed in a manner that is quickly productive. Yeah.
All right. Any other public comment?
Was that a question?
It was a public comment, yeah. It was kind of a lot of things, yes. Bring it back to council if there's no other public comment.
So the question before us tonight is whether or not we would be amenable to city property becoming a shared easement. And do we need to do that in the form of a motion? Or is this like a straw poll kind of thing?
Well, I think there are a couple of options that were.
Let me get Terry really quick. Terry, go ahead.
Since I was not part of the council before, Robert, I have a question for you. And Ryan, when did you do the first phase?
2021.
2021. And when you did the first phase of this development, were the other phases presented
They were
at that time?
presented, but.
Not approved,
Yeah,
but-
Could you guys come to the mic, please?
Okay.
They were presented but not approved.
Okay.
But I was trying to get the full picture.
They were trying to get the whole.
Well, they were, and I needed to, kind of say, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Great.
And so your statement, it was that you,
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't-
presented at that time?
I'm just saying, like, this is what I want to do, you know. I feel like maybe something would have been said at that point, or along the way, and I'm not throwing them under the bus or anything, but at this point, I'm like, it kind of hurts to stop.
Go to the floor and.
Yeah, I can add to that, honestly, just to
Okay.
explain. So, the initial proposal for phase one was just fixing up the existing building. So requiring them to pave that road, expensive. Requiring them to widen it for that potential future development, expensive. So in the interim, city staff said, this is okay for phase one, but for your later phases, we're going to have recommendations for expanding this roadway, paving it, et cetera, to serve that greater level of development. So that was the reason it was allowed for phase one, but it's expected that it will be improved for any subsequent phase.
Okay, so right now, do they have to pave the road there?
That is a recommendation. It's actually written on their plans as well, that they would be paving the road. Something, yeah.
Can they do it currently with the current design without extending into the courtyard?
To meet code requirements, you would need to expand it beyond what it currently is.
Great.
Yeah.
Councilmember Napier, I didn't mean to bypass you. You had a question as well.
Oh, no, I think it was just a comment. It isn't just a, one-choice situation. I think that there's some adaptability in this, which is, I think, what you were saying earlier, Ryan, is when it was first conceived and proposed, it was also in conjunction with the corporate yard being sold and turned into a development project in itself. That isn't happening now, and our corporate yard is our only corporate yard. Our corporate yard also has access on Taylor Way and on Mondo Way. So that easement there isn't necessarily a benefit, and if you have that change in elevation and you have to make up that difference to access that easement, you kind of encroach further into the useful area of the yard by creating ramps and such. But what we demonstrated in the past when we acted as a planning commission was that, we've shown a willingness here to look at ordinance and understand it and say, we're gonna go ahead and make variance here. And if what we're seeing is that 20 feet is doable, and we can do it within that 20 feet, and they have 22 feet, that gives a little extra leeway, that would be, I think, a second option to consider.
Great. Jenny, question for you. Are we still planning on moving that courtyard?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Great.
My understanding from everybody I've talked to is that it will remain the courtyard for the indefinite future.
Great.
Yeah, we did discuss that with Glenn Bernal, Public Works Superintendent. What if 8 to 10 feet of the northern, boundary of this site were used for a road? He wasn't super excited about the idea because he's protective as the courtyard, but he said we could probably accommodate that expansion and move some things. And just so you understand, as far as, there being a ramp down, the idea is that would be up against kind of the eastern property line of both their side as well as the courtyard to provide better circulation, for both sides.
Okay.
That was the idea. It wouldn't be a ramp like down right into the middle of the, area that's used for operations by, Public Works and that kind of thing.
And would the ramp fall under, are they gonna pay for the ramp, or is the city gonna pay for the ramp?
Well, as they noted, there was consideration of somebody acquiring or leasing that courtyard in the past.
Right.
And that isn't happening at this time. It's one of the reasons I brought this forward. Conditions have changed. The council needs to consider what it would be absent that future development happening on the courtyard.
Great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that has happened on this property is there's a boundary and topographical survey that was done by Points West. And we're not talking about 3 feet. A lot of this is like 6 inches, and at the very most, it looks to be about 18 or 20 inches. So this is not a massive ramp we're talking about having to build at some point.
Great.
We can grade this out with a grader.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're optimistic about it. Great.
And
All
Fair
right.
point.
Go
And
ahead.
our question is still, are we willing to have city property used to accommodate this requirement if the project goes forward and this requirement is
Necessary.
necessary?
Yeah.
That's the question,
That
correct?
is the question.
Okay.
If we were to work with them and figure out, actually, we don't even need that, that's wonderful. But
Okay.
if we did, that's what's before the council.
Okay. So I'm prepared to make a motion that we approve the possibility of that property being used as a shared easement.
Motion made by Scafani. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Louis Lusso. All right. All those any further discussion?
With the understanding that that's what the plan is, to continue the process and evaluation and assessment and,
Do you accept that amendment?
oh,
Absolutely.
sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
We have an amendment
Good.
to the motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none? Do you need any further direction?
Nope, that's fine.
Great. Moving on to the next item, introduction of new finance manager Carrie Croker. City manager.
All right,
Short,
Carrie,
go
stand
ahead,
on
fill us
up. We'll let people
Thank you,
leave
guys.
for a second.
Okay, now we're back to 8.
in. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, what? Sorry, just get them out of here.
Yeah.
I'll let you lead this.
So after a pretty robust recruitment process, we had quite a few qualified candidates that we went through, several interviews, and Carrie was our preferred candidate, and she ended up accepting the job. Her first day was on,
Hold on one sec.
Can you guys be quiet back there, please?
her first day was on January 27th. And just to give you a little background, she has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with an accounting emphasis. She also is a licensed CPA since 2006. and she might clarify exactly what that means. But we have been very excited to have her here. Because we were going to administer oaths of office, I wanted to bring her and have you guys have a chance to meet her. And do you want to say anything?
I have to clarify that right now my CPA license is in inactive status, so just have to say that.
Thank you. Any questions?
Welcome, and thank you. Yes. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to have
Welcome.
Well, I look forward to serving those who live here and do business here, and I probably have to add recreate here also.
Any,
Thank you.
any questions from the public?
I just wondered where do you live?
Arcata.
Great. Thank you.
So Carrie will stay until we give her the oath at least.
Okay.
Great.
Sounds good.
Great.
All right. Next up,
Oh, okay. I think she was asking if she could go.
No, you can just sit down for now. You will, though,
In a
you have
minute.
to wait.
moving on to item number 9, approval of resolution 1252, appointment of Samantha Green as city clerk. City manager.
So yay, we
Hello.
Hello.
So this is our long-awaited city clerk. She is planning on starting tomorrow if you guys appoint her to the position. Again, we had a lot of applicants and she really shone through in the process. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminology and Justice Studies from Cal Poly Humboldt. And most recently, she's worked for the last few years for the Humboldt Domestic Violence Services as the lead client advocate. So our difficult clients are probably nothing compared to what she's experienced. So before you is a resolution to appoint her into that position, and she also will be sworn in with the oath of office if you appoint her.
Great. Great. Any questions for Mrs. Green? None?
No more 14 questions.
Well, do you want to introduce yourself any further beyond that?
No, I mean, I'm excited to work here in the city of Blue Lake and work with the city and the residents. And, you know, I've never shied away from hard work. So I'm looking forward to being here. So, yeah.
Great. Does the public wish to ask any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Marty.
I think I heard you say you look forward to returning. Did you used to live in Blue Lake?
No. I live in McKinleyville currently.
Okay.
Great. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we wish to entertain a motion for the approval of resolution 1252?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Bayless,
Second.
seconded by
Both of us.
Napier.
Are we going with Napier?
All those of.
Wait, this is roll call.
It is roll call.
Yeah. Mayor Slotsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Napier,
Aye.
Councilmember Lewis Lizzo,
Aye.
Councilmember Scafani,
Aye.
Councilmember Bayless.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to the next item, oath of office for city manager. And all three of you at the same time. So
That's
let's
gonna
get it
be
all done at once.
awesome.
The party. Trifecta.
Does everybody have their papers?
Yes.
Ah,
So essentially, I'll just have you guys either stand or sit, whatever you prefer. I'll go ahead and. Come and
Everybody needs
stand.
to stand. And you need to stand as well, sir.
Thank you. Just a moment. All right, I'll just read this all for. So, I, Jenny Short.
Are you gonna make us
Carrie
record?
Croker. And I, Samantha Green, all do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California, that I take the obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Say I do.
Oh, I will.
Thank you.
all right, congratulations.
You get to sign them all in?
Right.
Wow.
All right. Moving on to the next item. Item number 11, bike and skate Park Project Draft Correction Action Plan. City Manager Short, would you like to fill us in on this?
I will, and this is gonna take a minute. So what you have before you is a staff memo. It was released on Monday. It was also available at City Hall for those of you that haven't seen it yet. It also was emailed to council, and it was emailed to any of the parties that had basically shown any interest in this particular item. So I'm gonna go over it kind of slowly because it wasn't in the packet. So what I'm asking you to do is consider this draft corrective action plan for the bike and skate park. And if you would like to provide direction to staff on changes you would like made to it prior to adoption, that's also what I'm looking for. The purpose of this is not to rehash all the events that got us here. I really am focusing on, okay, here we are, how are we gonna move forward? We really would like to be able to collect the information that's necessary to be able to make the decisions that need to be made on a partially constructed project. So the purpose of developing this is that it will enable the staff to be able to coordinate with the stakeholders and any of the volunteer-based organizations that have either executed a memorandum of understanding with the city, have contributed to the project, or have an interest in participating in future activities for the project. So I have a series of steps here that I'm proposing. The first one is that the city staff itself needs to do some coordination with the vendors that have a claim on outstanding financial obligations. And then we also have a single grant that we have not yet received an answer back on and that Emily continues to check on a regular basis. So it is still outstanding. So we have 3 vendors that have submitted invoices. One is Wildland Operators, one is Living Lawn Care, and one is GLJ Construction. And so those are the 3 vendors that I'll be reaching out to try to resolve. Did they have a contract? What sort of documentation is there to support the fact that we have an obligation as the city as opposed to the volunteers having authorized things? Were there deliverables that were a part of the agreement? Do we have those? What condition are they in? And for now, no additional payments will be made to any of them until all of those things have been determined, and then I report back to you on the situation with that. The second step is to collect and review the construction-related data. And so part of what we're looking for here is that there's literally been thousands of cubic yards of material placed out there. Some of it's native, some of it is base rock, some of it is listed as sand and drain rock. I don't know where each of those different things went. They have been imported, they've placed them and shaped them. There has been some compaction that's been done, paving has been placed on part of it. And so part of what I'm looking for is records that can provide some information on any compaction testing that was done, were any gradation available, like reports from the actual supplier where they did gradations with Caltrans or somebody else that goes with the material they brought onto the site. Were there any other material testing reports that they might have because they've used those materials in other projects? There oftentimes are photographs that can help inform us on what equipment was used, what means and methods were used for the compaction, that can help answer some of the outstanding questions on what was built and how was it built. Once we get that, we would like for the next step to be an actual topographical survey of the existing construction itself. It's a partially as-built construction project, and a licensed engineer or a licensed land surveyor needs to come out and do a full topographical survey. And I've detailed out here exactly what I'd like that to contain, down to what 1-foot contours, and we want drainage, and we want it to show what direction the water goes. And there's a series of things that topographical map needs to include. Then once we have that, one of the things that we need to look at is we need to overlay what was constructed with what was approved by the Planning Commission. And so in your packet, I provided the 3 pages that were the design documents for the bike path, or the bike park itself, and what had been approved. And one of the things that it's helpful to use as a reference point on those is there is a pump station, the sanitary sewer lift station.
Your page 11.
And you can see it on each of the plan sheets. You also can see it in the aerial. And so it gives you some context for how far beyond the edge of the project the actual bike park has been constructed. We would like to see also how much of it has gone on to the adjacent property. Danco has made alterations to their development design based on the fact that the bike park has encroached a little bit into the piece of property that they were going to be using. And then the last thing that we would like looked at in this step is there's a number of elements that are on the design documents that are not actually built yet. And some of them are, for example, like the skateboard ramp and the bike repair station. And there's been some discussion of restrooms and some different things. And so what we'd like for them to look at, and this is all of us as a group, the team, is look at with what has not yet been built, where is that going to fit on the site? So that we really can evaluate how big is the total facility going to be and where is each element going to be sitting. So that's kind of the end of step 3. At that point, we'll have a lot of information. We will do some coordination with our risk management carriers. I did speak with our insurance company yesterday about this specifically, and the direction that I got from him was that for them to be able to insure it, a plan has to be presented to council by a professional civil engineer or an architect, and the plan has to be stamped, and then you can accept that as assurance that it meets certain criteria, and that makes it insurable. So once we get to the point where an engineer or a land surveyor has done this work, we will need to have an engineer or an architect that's willing to stamp the plans for final, this is what we're going to build. Step 5 will be a comparison of the as-built conditions with the project documents. And this is really more about trying to figure out what was approved in CEQA, what was approved in the building permit, what was approved in the grading permit, does it meet ADA? Were there conditions that the Planning Commission put on the project when they approved it that then need to be altered? And so we'll look at each one of these things and make recommendations as to what needs to be done to remedy wherever we're at with this. So then step 6 will be, we'll come back to City Council at that point. Once we have the answers to these questions and we have an idea of what direction we would like to recommend to you based on the answers to the questions, and get your input at that point. Some of the things that we would plan to include in that report to you will be a recommendation for the project development scope and the approach. We want to look at all of the required permits, approvals, and regulatory compliance measures. We want to look at what additional design efforts are needed to get from where we are to a set of plans that an engineer and architect will actually stamp. The estimated total project costs and any ability that we have to phase it and what those costs would be broken out into phases. We want to evaluate how phased implementation would work, whether there's portions of it that could be opened, if there's portions, if it all has to be done before we can open it. Potential funding sources. We would really like to look at some grant opportunities and if there's any other financing strategies that we can utilize for this. Just so that you know, the city has some ability to apply for funds that other nonprofit agencies might not have access to. And so the partnership between the different associations that are involved in this in the city will allow us to access funds that they otherwise might not be able to. We also want to look at evaluation of the feasibility of continued construction support by donation or by volunteer contributions, because they have accomplished quite a lot by volunteers and by donations. It's really pretty shocking. And so we want to continue the momentum that they have and really look at what can be done with that and what truly does require a construction contract to move forward. We would like to assess the potential future use of a partially completed facility, and that will also include coordination with our insurance carrier. We would like to consider fundraising activities or special events at the site while it's still under construction. We want to identify work that's eligible for volunteer participation and any associated limitations or conditions we want to put on that. And then an assessment of risk management and liability considerations, including insurance coverage, safety compliance, and operational exposure. So all of those things should come together as a package to you at the point when we ask for you to make a decision. And then once we get to the point where council is satisfied and places those expectations and conditions on the forward momentum, then we'll do step 7, which is coordination with the various partners that we have for this. Everybody that's got an MOU with us. Right now, RCMBA has one, and we have a second one as our next item that would like to participate. I know the Skate Collective is interested in an MOU as well. So we'll get all of those people together and start working towards project funding together. And then as far as fiscal impact goes, I just want to be really explicit that any expenditure related to this has been moved into Fund 45. And we are not expending funds unless they have been approved with the city council adopted budget. And only once the revenues that are associated with the expenditures have been received. The Mad Scramble is being put on by RCMBA, and they are going to use the proceeds for that to donate towards the bike and skate park. The one thing that is not in the existing budget right now is the staff time that it's going to take to do steps 1 through 4. I would like to track those in 45 in case we end up with a grant funding option that allows us to be able to pick a date that is eligible to include that staff time in doing the analysis for that. And I also want to make sure that you understand that step 1 has to be done for me to be able to close out the financial books for fiscal year 24-25. And so that's not really optional. I have to deal with whatever vendors say we have an outstanding debt to them, because those have to be posted in our books before we close them.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does the council have any questions for Jenny about this or comments?
So for the fiscal impact, I wanted to explore that just a little bit more. The current budget does not include funds for these costs. Any revenues generated moving forward allocated to this Fund 45 are going to be applied or would be applied to the steps that you've outlined very clearly, and really appreciate the work. Is there going to be a need to make any amendments or adjustments to any MOUs for any of our partners, kind of as we've all been involved in this development? As far as allocation of funds and the,
I
does that
don't
make
think
sense?
for the MOUs that that's necessary. I think that they're broad enough that we have all the flexibility we need in that. It's more a matter of whether the council is willing to say, we'll put $1,000 into this as staff time to get the coordination done up through step 4, so that the people that have MOUs with us are enthusiastic about moving forward. And many of these steps they're going to do. I would just be coordinating with them, and that's a relatively minimal amount of time to get to the product that we want. And so for me, I think it's a good investment of the city's funds for my time to do this coordination. And like I say, step 1's not optional. I have to do that. And if we don't authorize it under the bike fund, it will just get posted to our regular 180 fund, because it has to be done for the finances.
I see. And with that, it seems that you are implying that you are becoming the project manager of sorts.
I don't think there's another option.
No, I don't either. I just want to make sure that we're clear that this is something that you're feeling comfortable and confident with at this point.
I am. Yeah, I've run a lot bigger construction projects than this.
Fair, but you have a big task ahead anyway.
It's different to partner with other volunteer agencies and organizations that want to have involvement in it. Like normally when you're in a project, you're in complete control.
Right.
But their ability to help in the process just needs to be organized, in my opinion. And so far, the meetings I've had with them have been super productive. I feel like they're, again, very enthusiastic about moving forward and interested in trying to help secure funding.
Great.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Barry Bailey, go
So
ahead.
I was just wondering about the Fund 45, because you were saying we would need, I think it's important for all staff time, anything that we do to show up in that Fund
Absolutely.
45, because part of this is transparency, and I think that's been one of the issues. So keeping it consolidated, even if we have to move that money and make a transfer into that fund, however that works, but I think it should come out of there. I did come across, and I do appreciate that this is exactly what you're talking about, because one of the things I had asked for previously was to have plan specification, working details about this that we've never seen besides this draft plan. And our city ordinances do say that the city council of Blue Lake shall adopt plans, specifications, and working details
for all public projects of more than $100,000. So that should have happened. And I know we're not talking about should have, you know, but I do want to make sure that that's what happens going forward. The third thing, moving forward, is it's very important, any money that's raised in donations that come into the city of Blue Lake must follow the resolution. So it would be, if it comes into the city, we need to, no matter how much it is, because that resolution does state if it's for a specific purpose, the city council has to approve an acceptance of that. And that's a resolution that's been on the books for a while. So it is important for that to happen. I didn't see anything on here, Jenny, for drainage, and I do know that when we had that big flooding event, I drove down there with a family member. We were just looking around, and it was like a moat around that park, and that was very deep. So on the side right where the sanitary sewer system, that box is, that was all underwater where the outhouse is. So that would be really important for that to be addressed as we move forward. And
It is on the
It is
bullet
on-
point list,
okay.
yes, the second one after
Okay.
contours for drainage features and direction of flow.
Yeah, and when I am looking at the original draft plan, because that's what this was, it just looks like it met the needs of all ages. And so as we're moving forward, what's out there right now seems to be advanced. Having grandchildren that have been part of that, the biking organization, I don't have a problem with, the project. I just want to make sure it meets the needs for all Blue Lake children as if we move forward and as we move forward, so that they all have access to it, no matter what their, disability or level of riding is.
Great. Councilmember Scafani?
I have a question about the sewer. Is it this sort of box right here?
Yep.
Okay.
It is.
That it?
And I also have a question. When I was looking at the county lot lines for this piece of property, it looks like the line for the parcel line, for the parcel map, is actually the long line, and it kind of goes at an angle and then goes up, was on across the street on Taylor Way. So I'm just wondering if maybe that was part of the confusion for how deep it got, because the lot actually goes, at an angle and then goes up. And it shows the lot line being over actually in the Ultra Power, right along the fence line there.
Yeah,
On the
that's,
maps. I'm just curious, yeah.
that wasn't my interpretation when I looked at it. I also, caution, Humboldt County's GIS system is
I
not
wondered,
super
that was my
accurate.
other question. How accurate is that?
Yeah.
Any other questions from council?
I did want to piggyback on what Terry was
Sure,
saying
go
about the donations, and I'm bringing this to staff to consider, is that any of the money that is raised for the Blue Lake Bike Park really needs to go through the city of Blue Lake for disbursement. So, if it's being collected on behalf of the bike park in any manner whatsoever, it needs to come to Blue Lake, and then Blue Lake will disperse those funds.
I would like to maybe ask for some clarification, because when they hold an event, there's a number of expenses that they incur that are related to acquiring drinks or cups, or, I don't want all that stuff to go to the city. I'd like for them to have an event, provide an accounting of how much they brought in, what their direct expenses were, and then the difference they bring as a donation, if that's acceptable to council.
Yeah, I think the concern is that labor, equipment, materials would be getting paid without really going through the city. And we need to be able to track that for grants, matching funds, and really just to stay on the right side of a transparent process.
And just so you know, they have provided me with a very detailed accounting of those things that I now, and if you want me to bring back a detailed financial accounting of what's happened on this, I can do that at this point.
Well, because really that resolution also is like in-kind donations. So anything, whether it's soil, rock, work, that's all something that should have a price put on that and then be a donation to the city of Blue Lake.
Councilmember Lewis.
Oh, she's,
All right.
that's very complete.
Going to go ahead and open this up for public comment. Does the public wish to comment on the bike park item? Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Kevin Fisher, 311 Second Avenue. And I just want to say, Jenny, thank you for laying this out like point by point. I want to tell the council that we as volunteers in our community will do everything we can to get these things taken care of and point by point. We got a lot of work to do. But I live in a neighborhood of little shredders. And every day, they're out there and they need a place to ride. And so I want to say to you, to all of you on Zoom, anyone watching this on YouTube, we are building a community and we are creating economy for our town. This park is going to be amazing. There's a lot of work to do, so thank you for not letting it die. And I would also like to say, I really want to support the concept of having an MOU with MBTTA and also the Humboldt Skate Park Alliance, a coalition. These people have been working really hard and we need everyone that we can to get this thing done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else wish to comment? Yes, Adeline, go ahead.
Eileen Jones. I have to say that we have had a very strong relationship with Kevin Fisher, his wife Ingrid Kosek, Mike Fogut. Some of these were the same folks that years and years ago started the Annie and Mary Rail Trail. And now you see how beautiful that is and how it is giving so much joy to the citizens of Blue Lake. So someone like Kevin Fisher and his wife Ingrid, and I can't name all the folks that were part of that project, have now moved on to this project. And we're really lucky to have folks like that here because they get things done. And this will be a gem for Blue Lake. So I support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Last call for public comment. Yes, go ahead.
Brian Course, if you want to know my address, you can come find me. Okay, so we have outstanding funds. Is that going to be public record of how much we owe?
You need to give me some context of.
If we owe Gary money for rock, we owe wild land operators for services, we owe the landscaper, how much do we owe everybody?
That has yet to be determined.
Okay.
That's what step one is, to
Got it.
figure out how
Okay.
much of that's valid.
Copy. So, yeah, my boys, we rode NICA racing mountain bikes, right? And I was sold on it as you're creating community through riding bikes, right? That's the whole concept of getting young children out there to ride bikes. And it's unfortunate we allow adults to ruin that. So out of greed or out of whatever, if there's outstanding outstanding money that's owed by the city, maybe people need to have conscience and say, well, was that really donated? Did I donate material in time, or do I need to be paid for it now? So that's the question I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Tim Daniels, go ahead.
Hi, I would just like to thank Jenny Short for all the work she's put into this in such a short time. She's an amazing asset to the city, and I'm glad to see her as a city manager. And I look forward to working with her. That's all.
Thank you, Tim. Julie Christie, go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, for being there tonight and hanging in there. Jenny, I'm going to concur with a lot of prior speakers. This has been very thorough. The only thing that I'm going to bring back to perspective is liability. And this has nothing to do against any project. I started at 8 years old pulling weeds at Blue Lake Arena. I still help at the McKinleyville Arena all the time, so I understand grassroots, make stuff work, all the fairgrounds, very active with them, so I understand. But here's the problem. We didn't discuss this with Jenny's report, and I think this is the big thing that I don't want to be a rotten egg on us. The engineering aspect of the bike park was really taken for granted. And in doing my research, it seems not very good. And that's not cool. We have an amazing thing right there. My kid wants to use it. He bikes to school every day. I just feel like we've got to figure out where we're standing to move forward first, so we don't get kicked in the butt after all this hard work. McKinleyville had to do a very extensive engineering plan. They hired outside firms. We're now getting on the footprint of Danco. We brought in stuff without environmental review. I mean, man, what a can of worms. But you know what? We'll see what can happen. I did see that, if somebody else owns the property, we might be able to get away with it a little better. I don't know if that was the plan, but my original thoughts were we should have like a enclosed dog park down there and have the skate park up where the dog park is, because parking and everything's another huge thing. I didn't like that everybody would be expected to pull up on the street there with Pepe's business and industrial usage, and where they're going to park. I mean, that's not very equitable for safety. So I think at this point, MOUs are important. Ear tagging funds for the city are super important. And everybody that wants to be involved with it, having some meetings together. So running the McKinleyville Arena, yeah, I have a couple horse groups. You guys should meet horse people. And I make them get along, we all got the same goal, and we need to work together, pull our resources where we can, and make it happen, because that's what's really gonna make this work, is if everybody just lets down their ego and works together. But I am not trying to foreshadow anything looming, but we really need to work out the fine details of where are we at now standing with how much work has been done, and is it a liability to the city to continue it without getting all those pieces together. So thank you, Jenny. Thank you, everybody, for being there. They need our support right now. We can be writing in letters of support. We just gotta figure out what the next step is, to keep ourselves out of going backwards. Thank you.
Just in time. Okay, any further public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to council for consideration of direction to staff and or approval of the plan. Does anyone wish to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the draft correction action plan for the bike and skate park.
Motion made by Louis Lusso,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Napier. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you.
Nice work. That was very thorough.
All right.
Thank you.
Item number 14, provide direction to staff regarding potential CanFest special event.
12. Well, we need to go to
Sorry.
12.
Let's get 12.
Where's 12? Oh, apologies. Approval of Resolution 1253 and memorandum of understanding with Mountain Bike Tribal Alliance. City Manager Short, would you like to fill us in on that?
Yes. So Mountain Bike Tribal Alliance and I met. We talked about the MOU and their desire to get involved in the continued development of the bike and skate park. They are interested in entering into the MOU that's before you. It is identical to the one for RCMBA, except for a few little minor things that are specific to their agency as opposed to the larger. There is really no financial implications for this. The biggest thing that these MOUs do is it makes it really clear to everybody that the city manager is the hub of the project, not somebody else, and that everything needs to go through them. And like Julie said, one of my goals at the very beginning of this, now that we have a plan, is to get together all of the people in one room that are interested in it and just start hashing out, okay, what are people's ideas? Because I'm sure there's some variation. But for each person that wants to be a participant in this, I'm encouraging them to do the MOU so that it's really clear what the relationships are. I believe that the Humboldt Skate Collective is also interested in doing this, and probably will see one in either the next agenda or the following one. But I'm just asking that you would approve the MOU and the resolution that goes with it.
Great. Council members, questions? Comments, concerns?
I'm sorry if I missed it as I was shuffling papers, but to clarify, it's the same MOU.
It is, yeah.
Thank you.
Sean, would you like to come forward and say some words? Sure. Great.
Good evening, everybody, council, community of Blue Lake. I'm Sean Fife, founder of Mountain Bike Travel Trail Alliance. I'm also the Specialized Bike Ambassador for Humboldt County. I've been in that position for 4 years. That's kind of how I got into doing this work. Just sharing, the joy of being on a bike, building trail in the woods with, our community. Started with the veterans and extended that work into working with our tribes in this community, working with Two Feathers, another one of our partners. So we work with all the tribes. We work with kids that don't have access to equipment. So our main emphasis is to make sure people have access to recreation, which is why we want to get involved in this project. And now that we have a draft corrective action plan that seems to be pretty solid, we're ready to move forward. That's pretty much all I got.
Great. Thanks again for coming forward and volunteering to help out with all this stuff.
Yep, happy to be here.
Council members, questions?
No, I'm really excited to see you guys join in this project. One of the things that I've seen, and this is by mountain biking community's own research, is the demographic is predominantly white, male, rich. And this is something that if we have a skate and bike park, we want it to be accessible to all people in Humboldt. And we really want to bake into it access for people of color, for women, for girls, in addition to what has predominantly been the average mountain biker. So is that something you feel like your organization can also help bring to the table?
That's 100% what we emphasize. I'm a 100% disabled veteran, so our outreach starts there. We're going to the National Ability Center here in the summer. We have a full scholarship with them. We work with the American Legion. Mm-hmm. So people with disabilities, people who don't have equipment, people of color, people that don't have the resources to get the equipment. We have a full fleet of bicycles that we have that we issue out to all the kids that ride with us every Friday, as well as we received a grant from Outride this last year and picked up even additional equipment to make sure people can race on full suspension bikes. Some of the more expensive bikes that most kids wouldn't have access to otherwise. So we're expanding and getting to a point where we're having everything we need. So it's pretty good.
Good. Thank you.
Great. Michelle?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Elise.
Could you tell us just a little bit more about how you got started and how you're funded?
Well, we first started as a charitable organization working with Humboldt Skate Park Collective, just out of need. We were working with veterans, and then we were approached by the Yurok tribe, and then we were trying to find a way to engage with the tribes, and that's where the partnership with Two Feathers came in. It gave us the ability to work with, not just our friends with the Yurok tribe, but also the Wiyot and the Hupa and the Karuk and all the other tribes that now we're working with. It's opened up my eyes to, tribal politics, the different groups, I'm learning things every day. So there's a lot of need, just like any community, and we're happy to be there. I'd say we're just in our infancy. So as far as funding goes, we applied for 5 grants last year. We received 3 of them. Of the 2 we didn't receive, one is offering a partnership and a film. We're going to be offering a film for us this next summer, and the 5th one wants to partner with us. So
Great.
we're actually doing pretty good as far as funding goes, and we're just started applying for stuff. We kind of get everything we ask for, so it's been pretty good.
That's great.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Oh, good. Thank you for coming.
Harry? Great.
How many members do you have?
We don't have any memberships. There's no membership, so anybody from the community is, walk and drive with us, or build trails with us, or go on our properties. Yeah, anybody from the community.
Any other public comment?
Question,
Yeah, would you mind?
Define MOU for me? Memorandum of Understanding. Thank you. That's all I need.
Any other questions?
Julie?
Julie Christie, go ahead.
Just a quick thank you for stepping up for our community and our kids. I really appreciate it. I hope that the Blue Lake Bike Alliance is the next one at the pedestal. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Julie. Oops, Tim, I thought I saw another hand, but go away? Okay, great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bringing it back to council for approval of resolution
I'd
1253.
like to make a motion.
Motion made by Bayless.
I'd like to, that the council approve resolution 1253, approving a memorandum of understanding with the Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Alliance for the development, maintenance, and monitoring of the Blue Lake Bike Park, and direct the city manager to sign the MOU.
Second.
Motion made by Bayless, seconded by Louis Lusso. All those in,
Just to be clear, that's the Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Association.
No, it's Alliance.
It is Alliance, not here, Association?
It's Alliance.
motion made by Louis Lusso. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna take a, we're gonna do a quick little 5-minute break. That's okay for everybody? I'm really sorry, everybody. I know the next item's up. 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
Mike's.